Imagine a world, not of global connection, but of colossal, invisible walls. These weren't walls of stone, but of geography. Vast deserts, impassable mountains, and trackless oceans. In the far west, the Roman Empire glittered, a powerhouse of law and disciplined legionnaires. Far to the east, the Han dynasty of China flourished, a realm of intricate bureaucracy and silk. Between these giants lay the formidable Parthian Empire in Persia, and the vibrant, diverse kingdoms of India, rich in spices and philosophy. Each civilization was a universe unto itself, a brilliant star in a dark sky. Each had its own gods, its own armies, and its own unique treasures. But to one another, they were little more than distant legends and confusing myths. Knowledge was a rumor, carried by the few daring merchants on treacherous, unofficial paths. A Greek trader in a Persian bazaar might hear tales of a land where soft fabric grew on trees, never laying eyes on the Han Empire. Back in Rome, a wealthy senator might wear a tiny sliver of that silk, ignorant of the civilization that produced it. Information traveled at a crawl, warped by distance. Goods were rare, their prices inflated as they passed through dozens of hands. The world was a scattered mosaic, its brilliant pieces separated by deep shadows and silence. This was the world before the road, a world on the brink of transformation. In the 2nd century BCE, the mighty Han dynasty faced a persistent existential threat. From the vast northern steppes, nomadic horsemen, the Xiongnu, raided China's borders with impunity, a constant thorn in the side of the empire. But a new, ambitious ruler, Emperor Wu, would not tolerate this. He devised a bold plan: find allies in the distant west to outflank their common enemy. He needed a man of incredible courage and unwavering loyalty. He found that man in a minor palace official named Zhang Qian. In 138 BCE, Zhang, with a delegation of 100 men, set out from the capital, Chang'an, on a mission into the unknown. Their goal, to find the Yuezhi, a nomadic people driven from their lands by the Xiongnu years before. The plan was simple, the journey anything but. Almost immediately, they crossed into hostile territory and were captured by the very enemy they sought to defeat. For 10 long years, Zhang Qian was held prisoner. The Xiongnu leader gave him a wife, and he had a son. For most, the story would end here, a failed mission swallowed by the sands of time. But Zhang Qian's resolve never wavered. He never forgot his emperor's command. Watching, waiting, he planned his escape. A decade after his capture, he saw his chance. Seizing the moment, he fled with his family and a loyal aide. Deeper into the uncharted west, his impossible mission improbably back on. The name Silk Road paints a simple picture, a long road carrying only silk. But this legendary network was far more complex, a sprawling web of arteries pulsing with a vast array of goods. It was never a one-way street, nor was it defined by a single precious commodity. From the dynastic heartlands of the East, a river of incredible treasures flowed westward. Yes, magnificent bolts of silk, so vibrant and light they seemed almost magical, were the headline act. But riding alongside them were fragrant spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger that would forever transform the bland cuisines of Europe. Delicate porcelain, a closely guarded secret, became the ultimate symbol of wealth and status. And most profoundly, revolutionary inventions like gunpowder, paper, and the printing press made the long journey, carrying the seeds of immense change. But the flow was not just one way. From the west, a different current of value moved east. Powerful, robust horses from the Ferghana Valley, The heavenly horses were desperately sought by Chinese emperors. Roman and Syrian artisans crafted exquisite glassware, its colors and clarity dazzling the courts of distant lands. Precious metals like gold and silver coins, along with fine woolen and linen textiles, were bartered for Eastern luxuries. This was the true nature of the Silk Road, not just a trade route for objects, but a grand two-way exchange of culture, technology, and belief, a vibrant artery connecting vastly different worlds. In the 1st century, two colossal powers dominated the world map, Rome in the west and Han China in the east. But what lay between them? A vast, powerful empire that controlled the very arteries of global commerce. This was Parthia. They were not merely an obstacle, they were the indispensable middlemen. From the east, caravans carried the most coveted luxury, silk. This shimmering fabric traveled westward, destined for the elites of Rome. In the opposite direction, a river of Roman gold and silver poured east, payment for these exotic goods. The Parthians stood astride this flow. At their fortified trade cities, they levied heavy taxes on every passing merchant. They controlled the flow, manipulated supply, and accumulated staggering wealth. This lucrative position was guarded by one of history's most feared military units, the Parthian cataphract and horse archer. These warriors ensured no army, Roman or otherwise, could bypass their lucrative bottleneck. For centuries, the Parthians were the gatekeepers of the world, shaping empires by holding the keys to trade. But the Silk Road was more than just a highway for silks and spices. It was a current of ideas, a river of beliefs that reshaped civilizations. Along these dusty trails, thoughts traveled as readily as merchants. From the heart of India, a new philosophy blossomed. The symbol of the Dharma wheel began its slow, steady journey eastward, carried in the minds of monks and scholars. Buddhism found fertile ground in China, its teachings taking root and transforming the cultural landscape. Meanwhile, from the west, another faith advanced. The simple cross, a symbol of hope and salvation, was carried by missionaries and traders. Christian communities sprang up in oases and bustling trade cities, their prayers echoing in new tongues. Then, a powerful new message emerged from Arabia. The crescent moon, representing the burgeoning Islamic world, spread with incredible speed. It unified vast territories under a single faith, its influence stretching from Spain to the borders of China. But it wasn't only faith that traveled. Critical technologies, world-changing inventions also made the journey. The secret of papermaking, once held closely in China, slipped out along the trade routes. Suddenly, knowledge could be recorded and shared more easily than ever before. And then there was the explosive secret, gunpowder. A Chinese discovery, its formula for fire drug was a coveted piece of information. It moved west, slowly at first, a whisper of power that would soon roar, changing warfare and empires forever. These weren't just goods being traded. They were the very building blocks of the modern world, all moving along a single vital network. The vast, unforgiving deserts of Central Asia were not empty voids. They were oceans of sand, and scattered within them were islands of life, the great oasis cities. These were Hengmir rest stops. They were the beating hearts of the Silk Road, vibrant hubs where the world came to trade. Look here on the map. See how the trade routes, the arteries of commerce, converge on these points of light. Two shine the brightest, Samarkand and Bukhara. For centuries, these cities acted as monumental toll booths and bustling markets. Caravans laden with lustrous silk from China would arrive, their goods exchanged for Roman glass, Persian silver, and Indian spices. But it wasn't just material wealth that flowed through their gates. Ideas traveled with the merchants. Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam found new followers. Astronomical knowledge from the East met medical theories from the West. These cities became crucibles of culture, their markets overflowing with not just exotic goods, but new languages, philosophies, and technologies. Wealth, measured in gold and silver, poured into their coffers, funding breathtaking architecture and centers of learning that would astonish travelers for generations to come. The Silk Road was not a golden path, but a treacherous thread woven through a landscape of immense danger. For every merchant who dreamed of silks and spices, the waking nightmare was a journey that could end at any moment. The road promised riches, but it demanded a heavy price, paid in courage, cunning, and often in blood. The greatest threats were twofold, springing from both the cruelty of man and the indifference of nature. First, there were the bandits. From the desolate steppes to the narrow mountain passes, they were a constant menace. These were not lone highwaymen, but organized bands, swift and ruthless. A lookout would spot a caravan's dust cloud from miles away. An ambush would be set. Arrows would fly from rocky outcrops, and horsemen would descend upon the terrified merchants and their guards, overwhelming them with brutal efficiency. Many caravans simply vanished, their precious cargo absorbed into the black markets of the ancient world, their members lost to the sands. But if a traveler survived the bandits, they still had to face the wrath of the elements. The vast Taklamakan Desert, whose name meant "you go in, but you don't come out," could swallow a caravan whole in a sandstorm. Yet, even more formidable were the towering Pamir Mountains, the roof of the world. Here, blinding blizzards could appear without warning, burying paths in feet of snow. The air grew thin, the cold was a physical weapon, and a single misstep on an icy trail meant a plunge into a bottomless chasm. Nature was the silent, ultimate gatekeeper of the Silk Road. Out of the fire and fury with the Mongol conquests, an unprecedented era of peace and connection was forged. This was the Pax Mongolica, the Mongol peace. For nearly a century, a single power controlled the vast expanse from Eastern Europe to the Sea of Japan. The once treacherous Silk Road, a patchwork of competing territories and bandit-infested trails, was transformed. Under the Khan's authority, it became a unified, secure superhighway. A lone traveler with a Mongol passport, a golden tablet called a paisa, could journey thousands of miles in relative safety. Imagine the flow of goods: silks from China, spices from India, furs from Siberia, all moving westward. And in return, European wools, glass, and honey traveled east. But the true currency of this new age was knowledge. The yam, a sophisticated messenger and supply system, was the empire's nervous system. Relay riders on swift horses could cover over 200 miles in a single day, carrying decrees, intelligence, and even fresh fruit for the Khan's table. This incredible speed facilitated not just trade, but the spread of ideas. Chinese inventions like gunpowder, paper money, and movable type printing made their way to the West, setting the stage for the Renaissance. At the same time, scientific knowledge from the Islamic world, like astronomy and mathematics, enriched the East. This was more than just a peace. It was the first great globalization, a world stitched together by the horse and the decree of the great Khan. Deep within the arid steppes of Central Asia, a microscopic menace began to stir. For centuries, the bacterium Yersinia pestis had existed in a quiet cycle, living within fleas hosted by wild rodents like marmots. But the world was changing. The vast Mongol Empire had pacified the continent, creating an unprecedented era of trade and travel along the revitalized Silk Road. This artery of commerce, designed for silk and spice, would now carry a far more sinister cargo. Unseen and unheard, the plague began its journey. Fleas, hidden on the fur of black rats, hitched rides in carts overflowing with grain and merchants' wares. The rats themselves scuttled into the caravans, seeking food and shelter. At each bustling oasis city, a new infection point was made. From the grand markets of Samarkand to the caravanserai of Tabriz, the bacterium was passed along with coins and contracts. It was a phantom traveler, a shadow moving westward with every transaction. The pathogen rode the wave of human prosperity, a dark pulse spreading through the veins of the world's greatest trade network. Finally, it reached the Crimean Peninsula, the vital trading port of Kaffa on the Black Sea. There, it found its vessel to the west, the bustling Genoese merchant ships, ready to sail towards a continent utterly unprepared for the horror it carried. For centuries, the world's wealth flowed along a single, dusty artery, the Silk Road. A vast network of caravans, merchants, and cities, it was the lifeblood of empires connecting east and west. But the winds of change were gathering. On the coasts of Europe, a revolution was taking shape. Shipwrights crafted new vessels, stronger and faster than ever before. The caravel, with its lateen sails, could now bite into the wind, conquering open oceans once thought impassable. Soon, brave mariners pushed beyond the horizon. A new map was being drawn, not on land, but on the vast blue canvas of the sea. Explorers like da Gama, bearded Portuguese noblemen in 15th century attire, rounded Africa, opening a direct sea route to the spices of India. Others, like Columbus, determined figure in Genoese cap, looking west, dared to cross the mighty Atlantic. Suddenly, shimmering blue lines began to crisscross the globe on our animated map. These were the new highways. Unlike the slow, treacherous Silk Road, these sea lanes could carry immense cargo. A single ship could hold more than 100 camel caravans. Spices, silks, and silver now flowed in unprecedented volumes. The old overland routes, once glowing with vibrant trade, began to fade. The cities that thrived along them for 1,000 years saw their fortunes dwindle. The world's economic heart was no longer in the continental interior, but on the bustling coastal ports. A new era had dawned, built not on earth and sand, but on wind, water, and wood. The age of sail had redrawn the world. The roads of antiquity were not merely paths of stone and dust. They were the arteries of empire, the lifelines of trade, and the conduits of culture that bound the known world together. Though untold centuries have passed, their indelible echoes still resonate beneath the asphalt of our modern world. Observe a satellite map of Europe. Faint, ancient lines begin to glow beneath the surface. Suddenly, our major highways and interstates ignite, perfectly tracing these phantom limbs of Roman engineering. The famous Appian Way, once trod by marching legions, fades to reveal a modern motorway running parallel, its direct descendant. Across the globe, the legendary Silk Road wasn't a single path. Animated lines branch out from ancient China, carrying icons of silk, spices, and paper. These routes then morph, transforming into modern railway lines and pipeline schematics, connecting east and west in a dialogue started millennia ago. But these networks did more than move goods. They moved ideas. Icons representing language, religion, and technology flow along these glowing routes, weaving the intricate tapestry of our shared human story. A Roman milestone, a simple stone cylinder, materializes. It then spins and transforms into a modern green highway sign. The grid of a forgotten Roman camp is drawn on the ground, which then dissolves into the street layout of a modern European city. The legacy isn't just in the ground, it's in our culture, our connections, and the very shape of our world, a foundation upon which we continue to build.